कृष्णार्पणमस्तु कृष्णार्पणमस्तु सुप्रभातम सुस्वागतम. I welcome all the participants who have come from ONGC for the SMET rejuvenation program. Every morning here between 7 to 8 we chant the 18 verses selected from Bhagavad Gita. As we all know, Bhagavad Gita is the most comprehensive text of yoga. It contains all streams of yoga. Swami Vivekananda said all the streams of yoga can be put into four main dimensions: Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. Jnana Yoga is the path of intellect, path of analysis, path of discrimination, path of intellect. Bhakti Yoga is the path of emotions, to gain mastery over the emotions. Karma Yoga is the path of action, how to convert every action into a yoga. Raja Yoga is the path of willpower, the power of the mind. And what we chanted, the 18 verses, bring the whole dimension of Raja Yoga. The 18 verses selected from different chapters of Bhagavad Gita have been arranged in a particular way. They have been put into these 8 different phases. You could see the first shloka gives the introduction to Raja Yoga. Then shloka number 2 to 5 bring about the Bahiranga Yoga, how to control the mind indirectly. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. Then we have 6 to 9, Antaranga Yoga, how to directly control the mind. Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Then we have the hurdles. When you start practice, what are all the difficulties that come, what are the hurdles that come, and what are the solutions. Then we have what are the qualities to see that we are in the right path, has been brought forth in shloka number 12. Then 13 to 14 talk about the advanced Raja Yoga. And then we have the shloka describing what happens to such a person at the time of death. How does he leave the body? Does he leave the body voluntarily, or how does it happen? And once he dies, what happens to him? Where does he go? That is the last 3 things, goal of Raja Yoga. So this gives you the whole spectrum of Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga is the name given to the Patanjali Yoga. In our tradition, earlier, yoga meant only Patanjali Yoga. Yoga that has been compiled and brought forth in the form of beautiful formulae. They are called Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. 900 BC, Patanjali compiled all those techniques and understanding of yoga available till then and put them in the form of a beautiful thesis. And that is called as the Raja Yoga by Swami Vivekananda. You can see the schematic in which you can see the whole spectrum of this Raja Yoga. In tradition, while it was called as yoga, then the bhakti, the Jnana Yoga, Jnana, and the karma. But Swami Vivekananda said all these lead to the same goal. Therefore, they all should be called as yoga only. Therefore, he called Jnana as Jnana Yoga, Karma as Karma Yoga, Bhakti as Bhakti Yoga, and what to call yoga, Patanjali Yoga, he called it as Raja Yoga, king among yogas. That's what we see. So, what is the goal of the yoga? It's not just to do some asana or other practice, it will gain mastery over the mind. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. In the second sutra, Patanjali defines what is yoga. Yoga is to gain mastery over the mind, he said. How to do that? Systematic methodology have been evolved. And he says there are 2 main ways to do that. One, indirectly control the mind. Another is directly control the mind. Indirect control of the mind is called Bahiranga Yoga. Direct control of the mind is called Antaranga Yoga. And 5 limbs of Bahiranga Yoga, 3 limbs of Antaranga Yoga. Total 8 limbs. Therefore, it's called as the Ashtanga Yoga, 8-limbed yoga. The culmination of all these 8 limbs is called Samadhi. In the first 5 limbs, we have Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, the 5 limbs. So here, the mind is so haphazard, they are totally uncontrolled, therefore you cannot directly control the mind. I remember, almost 25 years back, one of the workers from Hindustan Aeronautics, he came to me and said, "Sir, I have lost all my concentration power." I said, "What do you mean?" See, every day after work I come, just I want to relax and want to read a simple story thing. At that time, in Kannada, we used to have Chandamama and Balamitra. Very simple, very nicely decorated and then prescribed stories. So nothing very serious. So I start reading these things. I read the first sentence and then mind wanders around. Oh, today my wife had told that I should have gone there, I did not go there, what happened to what happened? And then in my factory this happened, everything goes round and round. And by the time I come back, it would have been 20 minutes. Then I don't know what I have read. I sit in front of the book for almost 1.5 hours. I would not have read even 3 sentences. When such haphazardness comes, when such uncontrol over the mind comes, what is to be done? But then he says, don't worry. You have the indirect ways of doing. And these are the 5 indirect ways to do that. First is Yama. Second is Niyama. A set of do's and don'ts you have to follow. These are the foundations. What are those don'ts? What are those do's? Yama consists of 5. Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, Aparigrahaha, Yamaha. Ahimsa, non-violence. Satya, not speaking the untruth. Asteya, non-stealing. Brahmacharya, control over the senses, particularly related to sex, control over the sex. Aparigrahaha, non-possessiveness. You go on accumulating. Stop that. These are the 5 don'ts that Patanjali prescribes. Then what are things to be done? Shaucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhanani Niyamaha. Yes. Shaucha, cleanliness. Cleanliness outside, cleanliness inside, cleanliness everywhere. Shaucha. Santosha, being happy all the time. Keeping a smile on the face. Somebody asked me, see, I don't want to do many things in yoga. Give me only one aspect which I will follow. Which asana I should do was his question. Then I said, best is Santosha. Keep a smile on the face all the time, be happy. That is the one. Patanjali says, by taking to Santosha, Santoshad Anuttama Sukha Labha, said immense bliss, the highest happiness you will get. So go on practicing this. So Santosha has to be incorporated into all our activities, in all our practices. You have to keep a smile on the face. Therefore, many of our people under the students do advanced asanas. When they do advanced asanas, they become very stiff. I said, no. Then you have not really learned advanced things. You must keep a smile on the face. So when you do all practices, you have to keep a smile on the face. That is Santosha. Enjoy inside. Shaucha, Santosha. Tapas. Tapas is taking a particular job and continuously working on that. Until it is completed, you don't get distracted. So, Swami Vivekananda said, arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. Uttishtata, Jagrata, Prapya, Varan, Nibodhata, he said. So once you take up a job, until it is complete, you should never stop. You must achieve. That's called tapas. Shaucha, Santosha, tapas. Then Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya is introspection. Normally, we think that all that happens to me, everything bad that happens to me is all due to somebody else. I get asthma because outside there is pollution. I get hypertension because my wife is very horrible. I get diabetes because the outside food has become very bad. All types of things. Always we ascribe to all that we suffer to something external. We never think whether there is something wrong in me. Patanjali says, just you have to look inside. Swa-adhyaya, introspection. You see what is happening inside. All the problems I have is due to my own imbalance. Therefore, you have to look at that. Called Swa-adhyaya. Shaucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya. And the fifth one is called Ishvara Pranidhana. That is surrender to the ultimate reality. And tuning ourselves to that all-pervasive reality. And that is the process by which you will be able to gain all those powers of the ultimate reality. Ultimate reality is one of infinite bliss, knowledge, power and freedom. These are the 5 do's. These are like the set of do's and don'ts form the foundation. So all other practices we do should be having a strong foundation. If you don't have a strong foundation, the building you build and any day it may just collapse. So therefore Patanjali emphasizes this aspect. So this has to be incorporated into our daily life. So then what happens? You come to the asanas, yogic postures. Asanas have become so popular all over the world. Yoga means only asanas, they think. The physical dimension. So people ascribe asanas as some sort of physical exercise and so on. But what does Patanjali say? Sthira Sukham asanam. Any position in which you are sitting steadily, calmly, silently, with full of blissful awareness is called a asana. So whatever asana you do, you may be doing Sukhasana, Vajrasana, sitting postures, standing postures, topsy-turvy postures, inverted postures, any asana you are doing, these 3 aspects should be brought. First of all, you must go to that position and become steady. For example, if you are trying to do Sarvangasana, taking the legs up, then it will be moving. So first stop that movement, make it steady, sthira. Then that's not the end. Then you have to keep for a long time. Initially you may do it only for a few seconds, then it will be half a minute, 1 minute, 2 minutes. Sarvangasana, you must take 9 minutes. Then 1/3 of that is the Matsyasana. That is staying long. That's called Chira. So when you do advanced asanas also, you should be able to stay in that for a little longer than just going and coming back. This people miss. How to do that? Patanjali gives a trick. He said, Prayatna Shaithilya. When you go into that, you must make it very relaxed. Bring in the dimension of relaxation. Relaxation is the key essence of all yogic postures. Any asana you do, it should be completely relaxed. So that's how you'll be able to stay longer. If the effortlessness is not there, if relaxation is not there, then you'll not be able to stay longer. If there is a lot of effort, then you'll come back. That's the trick he gives. Then having done that, what happens? When you are staying there effortlessly, the mind will start wandering here and there. So the mind has to be brought into control. So what is to be done? He said, Ananta Samapatti. That you tune your mind to that all-pervasive, beautiful sky or vast, infinite ocean. And remember that picture, that experience, and stay in that. Then you get that sukha. That's the 3rd stage. Sthira, Chira, Sukha. So when you are going to practice asana, these 3 dimensions should be brought. If you don't go to the sukha level, then you practice for a while and you leave it. Once you come to the level of sukha, you will never leave asanas. Asanas will give you so much of happiness, joy. If you one day miss asana, you think something you have missed. So this is how you go in the asanas. That is, using the body as a tool to gain mastery over the mind. Then comes to pranayama. Pranayama is to gain mastery over the prana. And this is done through control over the breathing. Prana and mind are two faces of the same coin. When you control the prana, you control the mind. When you control the mind, you control the prana. So when you start controlling the breathing, which is one part of the prana, then the mind starts coming under control. This is the most powerful thing. People who have a lot of problems about the mind control, the best thing is pranayama. That's why Swami Rao Dev made pranayama so popular around the globe, with such massive scaling up things through his entire portions that he did. The camps of yoga, pranayama, he brought more powerful. And what you have to do here in pranayama, you have to slow down the breath. And many people think some pranayama, some sort of oxygenation. Wrong. It is the reverse of that. You slow down the breath more and more. So many people think that if the atmosphere is very polluted, how can we do pranayama? If you are just there, you have the normal breathing. Therefore, pollution will go more into this thing. But when you do pranayama, you are slowing down the breath. Normal breathing rate is 18 per minute, and in pranayama you reduce it to 10 per minute, 5 per minute. Therefore, automatically the pollution will become less. Less pollution gets into it. Therefore, when you do pranayama, even in pollution, you are much better off than not doing pranayama. But if you think that pranayama is oxygenation, then you take more and more fast breathing, therefore pollution will become more, then it's wrong. So this is the secret that you have to do. Slowing down of the breath, then the whole body gets more and more relaxed, and the mind starts coming under the control. Then the fifth thing is pratyahara. Use our senses to gain mastery over the mind. How? There's always rush of the senses. The tongue wants to go and eat your dish very quickly. I want it. Greater the speed of the mind, greater the rush of the senses. Therefore, you have to reduce the rush of the senses. So what we do here, when you are able to eat, when you are in front of the lunch, don't immediately go and eat. So we say all people should sit, then we chant a bhojana mantra, and then partake food. This is how it has been incorporated into our entire daily life. You should be able to slow down the rush of the senses. Slowing down is the key essence of gaining mastery. So all these things are incorporated into what you call the Bahiranga Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. Then comes direct control over the mind. Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Dharana is focusing of the mind. If you look at the mind, the grossest form of mind is haphazard mind, chanchala mind, random mind, jumping from one to another. Multiple thoughts, multiple subjects. But in concentration, you have multiple thoughts, but they are all connected with one another. Therefore, you have a single subject, there are multiple thoughts. From there, you go to the next step. Up to concentration, we have been doing it in the entire education system. That's where we stop. But in yoga, you have to take to the next step called dharana. In dharana, you have a single thought, a single subject. You focus the mind on a single thought. By that process, the thought becomes very, very powerful. It can go deep and completely cleanse all your dirt within us. Just like you have the lens, you put the paper behind that in light, and what happens to the paper? Paper gets burnt. Why? All the incident energy will get focused on a very small portion. Therefore, it gets burnt. Similarly, in the mind, when you have a single thought, the thought becomes very, very powerful. All the energy will get focused on that single thought, and it can completely burn up all the negativities within us. So use dharana. But dharana cannot be done for a long time. You get strained. If you do dharana even for 1 minute, you start getting headache here. So Patanjali says you have to go to the next step called dhyana. Dhyana often is terminated as meditation. In dhyana, you have effortless staying in a single thought. So, what is the difference between dharana and dhyana? Effortless dharana can be called as dhyana. What characterizes dhyana or meditation? There is a single thought. There is effortlessness. and there is slowness of the thoughts. And once you slow down, normally what happens? You sleep off. No sleep, sir. Wakefulness. And when you start advancing, the mind blossoms and it becomes expanded. These are the 5 features of meditation called dhyana. Single thought, effortlessness, slowness, wakefulness, and expansiveness. So, it can be done sitting, it can be done lying down, it can be walking, any way you can do these things. So, in the cyclic meditation that we are going to use to reduce our stresses drastically, we are going to do that along with asanas and other dimensions. So, many people think that if you only sit and do, it will be meditation. Not necessary. Once these 5 features are there, it can be done even while walking. You can do any activity that you do. That's called dhyana. The culmination of dhyana is called samadhi. Samyak adhiyate iti samadhi. Means now you go into the next step from dharana to dhyana to samadhi. What is samadhi? There is a merger, there is an absorption. Normally in all our activities there are 3 aspects. The seer, the seen and the process of seeing. You are taking food, you are there, and the food that you are taking and the process of eating is there. Even in meditation, there is the meditator, the meditated, and the process of meditation. 3 things are called. This is called triputi. So in all our activities, there is a triputi. And when the 3 things merge together, it's called samadhi. The seer becomes one with the seen. That's called samadhi. Then as if you lose yourself and you become one with the thought. So you are doing the meditation on onkara, let's say, and you become one with that onkara. That's called samadhi. And tadeva arthamatra nirbhasa swarupa shunyamiva samadhi. Patanjali defines what is samadhi. That you become one with that thought and you lose yourself as if, and that can be. What happens then? The mind expands into the higher level of consciousness. The mind goes into a subtler level of consciousness. What is the result of that? Tremendous amount of bliss. Bliss the supreme. And your knowledge increases. Your poetic creativity starts coming up. Innovation comes up. Samadhi is the highest state of mind, subtler state of mind. These are the 8 limbs. Many people think samadhi is the end of the game. Patanjali says, no, that is the real beginning of yoga. If you don't get a glimpse of samadhi, you have not really entered into yoga. So then what should be done? You have 8 types of samadhi further. This is called the advanced Raj Yoga. In advanced Raj Yoga, you have all the different powers. The knowledge increases, creativity increases, and powers increase, and bliss increases, goes on increasing. Vichara, vitarka, ananda, asmita, anugamat, sampragnataha, tadanyaha, sampragnataha. 8 types of samadhi. And finally, you merge with that kaivalya, the pure consciousness. That's infinite power, infinite freedom, infinite knowledge. And this is the whole spectrum of Raja Yoga brought out by Patanjali in 4 chapters. The first chapter is called Samadhi Pada, second is called Sadhana Pada, Vibhuti Pada, and Kaivalya Pada. 196 shlokas called the Sutras, and that gives the whole spectrum. And the same thing is found in the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, we have compiled the 18 verses and put them as the Raja Yoga Shloka Sangraha. So let us contemplate on these thoughts. Sit right now with eyes closed. Relax all parts of the body from toes to head. Beautiful smile on the face. Keep the smile throughout. Take a deep breath and slowly breathe out. Pranayama dimension. Now look at the thoughts. Allow the thoughts to slow down. You can look at the Om and close your eyes. Retain that single thought of Om. Effortlessly the mind is staying that single thought. Breath is slowing down. Therefore, the Omkara picture also is slowing and slowing. Number of thoughts in the mind reduces in meditation. Then that Om expands throughout the body, spread throughout this whole Mangala Mandir, and goes beyond, pervades everywhere. Allow the mind to merge with that infinite, Ananta Samapatti, as Patanjali said. That state of Anantata, all pervasive awareness, is the state of bliss, Ananda, Anandamaya Kosha, we call. Let's anchor ourselves in that blissful awareness throughout the day and spread the fragrance of love and bliss to everyone. Come to Namaskara Mudra. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramayah. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Please come up.